Hello, welcome to Voice of Our Own. I'm Allison Kinnear. Thanks for joining me. I have to tell you, I have been waiting all day and most of the week to get on this living and learning and talk to you about working from home while also attempting to homeschool. This is for any parent who is finding themselves working from home, which I recognize is a total privilege, and also having either young children, infants, all the way up to high schoolers. If you find yourself in this position, this is a video for you. I found myself waking up in the middle of the night thinking about this talk, and I've been anxious for it all day. I'm just going to let her rip, and I won't even say hello or acknowledge people until the very end. So once again, living and learning, this is a time, 3:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I hop on Facebook Live and talk about living and learning. We are all in a brand new reality. Some of us have been there longer than others, but with this pandemic, we are all having to change the way we do things. Our entire world has been flipped upside down. And I know you might be sick and tired of hearing about things for the coronavirus, but I want to talk about this specific dynamic when it comes to working from home with children about, because it is a very triggering, anxiety-ridden, and emotional, mental, physical overload experience. And I will tell you from the moms that I'm chatting with, it is enough to push people over the edge. Because how do you do your job when you have a full-time job while also having a young child in the house who is so used to the only time that you're in the house at the same time as they are in the house is when you are not working. And so this is a period that is filled with a lot of upheaval. And I will tell you, one thing is that I am probably going to curse during this video. I already have my sound machine going for my family in the background. And so if you have earplugs or you want to watch this video at a later time, now's the time to do that, because I can tell already I feel this going on, feel this coming on. So first of all, what I want to acknowledge is that if you are having to work from home while also attempting to homeschool, it is going to be exceptionally difficult. You already know this. That's not news. But I want to break this down a little bit for you. In order to homeschool, or in order to provide schooling and education for a child, let's pretend elementary school, you need a 4-year degree plus a year of internship to get your teaching certificate, period. In order to teach children how to read, how to write, the best methods for doing that, how to do mathematics, that requires a 4-year degree in elementary education or in secondary education. That's what learning how to teach your children requires. And unless you have a degree in elementary education or secondary education, you are not going to replace your child's teacher. And even if you do have those degrees, it's going to be different because you're not teaching in a school environment where you can leverage peer groups and you have other resources available and kind of dynamics of the classroom there to support learning. You're going to be doing it with your own children at home. And any teacher will tell you children behave differently at home than they do at school. Teachers' children will be wonderful to other teachers, but will be challenging to their parent, because that is the nature, not to say it's always antagonistic, but to say that is the nature of the parent-child relationship. It is very different than the teacher-child relationship. So unless you have a 4-year degree, which I'm going to assume you don't, in elementary or secondary education, then we need to relieve the pressure of replacing your child's teacher. It's not going to happen. And we cannot reduce our perception of teachers as anything that anybody can do. They go through so much training in order to be able to do what they do. They are highly skilled at their craft. And we cannot debase that or make it so that, or Mickey Mouse it into something other than that. It takes great skill to do what our teachers do, and we're all going to experience that, right? The second thing is that we also have to make sure we're not comparing ourselves to homeschooling parents, because parents who homeschool also go through quite a long period of intentionally choosing to homeschool. Sorry, I'm coughing. I don't think I'm sick, but it's allergies. They go through a long period of time of choosing and opting into homeschool. They go through a long period of time of researching how to homeschool. They gather tons of resources from the district and from other homeschooling parents. Then they tend to talk to those homeschooling parents and learn about how to homeschool. And that then becomes their full-time job, is homeschooling. So if you are a parent who works in a position that is not in education, and you have not, deliberately chosen to homeschool, then you cannot compare yourself to either one of those groups. I don't care how many fancy, colorful charts there are. You are not going to be able to hold yourself to those same standards as those two groups, because what teachers do and what homeschooling parents do is so beyond colorful coded schedules. It's so beyond it. And we have to remember that you don't have that education and background, nor do you have the time and resources, because you have another job to do. And hopefully you're able to do it from home. And what's really hard is that children, it's hard for them, particularly the younger they are, it is hard for them to know and to wrap their heads around mommy's working or daddy's working. Like, children could give two shits about that. They do not care that you are working. They do not care that you are on a conference call. They do not care that you need brain power and silence in order to think through the difficult work that you're already doing. They don't care, not because they're assholes. They don't care because their brains have not fully developed. Their prefrontal cortex has not fully developed, and they still have egocentrism to them. Again, this is different than being egotistical. It's not saying they're assholes. It's just saying their brain development is not there yet. And the older they are, the better they can do this. I have a dear friend of mine who is really great at what she does. She's got two boys. One's like sixth grade. The other one's like third grade or something like that. Amazing, beautiful human beings. They're both working from home. They posted pictures. It's like, here's mom in her workspace. Here's dad in his workspace. Here are the kids in their clean and tidy rooms doing their schoolwork. And I will tell you, I nearly had an anxiety attack just seeing those photos. This is the trap of perfection porn. Perfection porn. This is what I call this. This is what Pinterest is. This is what home HGTV is. This is what those perfectly crafted photos are. It is perfection porn. And what it does is it triggers us, particularly as women, around all of our shame triggers. Our shame triggers are do everything, be everything to everyone. Don't let them see you sweat and be perfect all the time. And additional to that is like, be the perfect mother, whatever the hell that is. But that is like so shame trigger minefield out there. And so watch yourself. Make sure you are not engaging in perfection porn. Make sure you are not engaging in comparing yourself and getting all your shame triggers acted up. Because the game has changed. We have new rules. This is a new game. We cannot apply the old rules to the new game. And what I mean by that, and we have to remember this, if you are a manager or you are an employer and you are seeing your workers breastfeeding on camera during their conference calls or talking to their kids in their mom voice or any of those other things, it's important not to debase them based on that. Because chances are their husbands, if they are in a heterosexual relationship, their husbands are not watching the kids. It's the moms watching the kids. Not all the time. My husband's out there watching the kids, so I know that's not all the time. But in many, many, many families, it's the mom who is like, well, you're going to have to do the work and you're going to have to watch the kids because I've got a conference call and the kids have to be quiet. So we have to watch that we are not providing an extra motherhood tax on that when we see it as managers and leaders and employers. And we have to be super filled with grace for ourselves when we are not being the parents we know we can be. And we're also not being the employees that we also know we can be. Because guess what? When you're doing both, when you're working from home while also child rearing, forget about homeschooling. When you're doing both, you are trying to ride two horses with one ass. That's what you're trying to do, riding two horses with one ass, and it's not going to be pretty. We are in a place of total change and transformation. That means it's going to get uncomfortable. We're going to be stressed out. Our kids are going to be stressed out. It doesn't matter if they're babies. They're going to see the energetic change. You're going to see our micro expressions change on our face. They might be more fussy. Our kids might get angry more often. They might cry more often. They may need us more often. This is because they are human. We are human. And guess what? If your boss or colleagues are lashing out in anger, it's probably because they are human too. As Brene Brown recently said, we can all get really shitty really fast when we are scared. And we do not know the stories that other people are carrying. We do not know that their parents are continuing to go out in public and shop at the Piggly Wiggly at noon on Tuesday or on Saturday, God forbid. We don't know that our parents aren't going like, oh yeah, the neighborhood boy just came over to fix a couple things around the house while we are on this, self quarantining stage, right? Like we don't know the stressors that, perhaps it's a strained relationship, a strained marriage. We don't know all of the shit that's going on in each other's lives. And so the key word here is grace. Grace, grace, grace. Grace for you, grace for each other. Because without it, you can really put yourself in a tight, wound up, anxiety-filled, worse off than you would be place. And that does no one any good. It doesn't help you. It doesn't help your family. It doesn't help your coworkers. And so it's going to be really important that you provide as much space and as grace. And I will tell you the mantra that is helping, I am doing the best that I can. You may think it's bullshit because I know how to be a better parent than I just was. But let me ask you, when you were that really great parent, did you have better sleep? Did you not have a global pandemic going on? Did you not have all of these other stressors in your life happening? Chances are, yeah. Of course, we can be that parent. We know how to be that parent. We know how to be that worker. But the fact of the matter is, our world has changed. And so we need to provide some grace for ourselves. And in that grace is also allowing the emotions, allowing the grief of not being able to separate home and personal life, allowing the grief and the fear to be present that we might have for ourselves and for our loved ones. This is the work that we are really being called to do. And it's super important that you try to remember that, not to compare yourself. You are not a school teacher. You are not a homeschooler. You are a mom or a dad who is working their tail off to provide some kind of hope, normalcy, safety, healthiness, well-being for yourself and for your family. And that is enough. And you just do the best you can. Some tips to help: separate your work time. If you have a partner who you can trade off with, then trade off. And so when you are in mom time, you are fully in mom time. And when you are in work time, you are as fully as possible in work time. You may have to work from your closet. It doesn't matter. Find a way if you can. If you can't, I hate to even say this, but consider waking up earlier. Wake up in the wee hours before your family has woken up. Set expectations with your manager. Do not commit to being like, oh yes, everything's going to be just like it normally is. No. Manage expectations for everyone. This is when I'm on. This is when I'm off. I'm sorry. I wish I could be on, but I've got a 2-year-old who gives two shits about me working, and that's not going to happen. So, and I feel my cousin she's got, her husband works and is doing testing for this very virus, or working on the test kits for that. She has a demanding job and they've got a 5-month-old. And her work ramped up, right? So this is taking mini breaks, knowing when you can attend to work, when you attend to baby. Baby's going to be demanding no matter what, right? And God forbid you have a baby that's mobile or just learning to walk. You're not going to be able to do much. And because your child is going to recognize, mom's distracted or dad's distracted, their behavior is going to go way up. It's just, we're all going to have to change the way we do things. And that's painful and that can be difficult, but the sooner you can surrender to that reality, the better off you and your family will be. Additionally, that is my soapbox. Thank you so much for listening. And let me look at the comments now because I see it coming. Charlene, yes, absolutely. Yes, I'm glad I nailed the homeschooling. Thank you, Aussie. Yes, we have to. I'm glad. And to whoever else, I can't even see everything on here because whatever, the computer. I also want to let you know I am starting a special today on my Courageous Leadership course. It starts March 30th. It is going $50 off. And in addition, I recorded a ton of videos called Calm in the Chaos. And it is all about instilling mental, emotional, physical, spiritual well-being during this time of our world getting upside down. And it's geared mostly towards parents. And so that is coming along. And really, it doesn't really matter if it's for parents. It's really for anyone who gets overwhelmed with life. And I think this time we're all getting overwhelmed with life. And this is a course geared directly and straight for that. There will be no live calls on the Calm and the Chaos, but there will be a lot of videos that are just chock full of tools. Secondly, that will be as an extra bonus. If you sign up for the Courageous Leadership course, you get Calm in the Chaos as a bonus. So I will put the links to both of those so you can see what they're all about and see if you want to sign up. This deal is running until Sunday, March 22nd. $50 off. You use the code SPRING because even though all this craziness is happening, guess what? It's spring. Spring is officially starting tomorrow. So we are going to spring forward because that's all we can do. And we are going to spring forward and there's a little extra bonus and treat for you. If you recommend a friend to join the Courageous Leadership course and you both join, then you both get an additional 50% off. I'll explain all of that in the comments and you can check it all out for yourself. I wish you a wonderful week of living and learning in this whole new adjustment period. I wish you a wonderful week of trying to just be. Your role right now is to just be a parent and be an employee and be someone who is trying to figure this whole thing out, right? I wish you a full, wonderful week of living and learning how to be in this new reality. And if you need support, hit me up. I will see you all next week. Take care. Bye.